Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Welcome to the Whine Don't Whine Show Artist Edition. My name's Harley. I'm going to be your host for this evening. We're going to be discussing tons of different types of topics today. As long as you're tuned in, make sure you sit there and comment. We're more than happy to answer any questions that you have. While we're trying to make sure that some topics today. Welcome here, artists. Give us 1 second while we adjust our levels over here. We've got a mic we're working with, so it's going to be some really awesome music. Y'all stay tuned. Also, if you're interested in the topics we're talking about, every Friday we go live at 5 with the original Whine Don't Whine Show hosted by Joe Orsak. In the meantime, like I said, my name's Harley. You can find me at Texas Houston Art, hosting the Artist Edition of Whine Don't Whine Show. And we're going to start on this side and introduce everyone. So let's start with you, Blake.
What's up? My name's Blake Melanson. I'm from the band Backdrop Violet. I do vocals.
What's up? My name's Doerflinger. I'm the bassist of Backdrop Violet.
My name's Nick, and I'm an artist.
My name is
That's it, man.
Well, hold on, wait. Where can we find? We're moving pretty fast here. We're moving pretty fast. Where can we find Backdrop Violet?
Oh yeah, we'd like to take this time to say go over to YouTube and type in Backdrop Violet, press that subscribe button. Go on Facebook, type in Backdrop Violet, give us a like, go do all that stuff. Go follow us on Instagram and all of that stuff, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
That's where you can find us.
Where do we find you and your art?
You can find me at Brother Boyer Music. Yeah, that's kind of like a blanket for everything I do because I do videos, music, and art. So if you want to find out what I do, you can hit me on Instagram or Facebook. Is typically where I live at. So check me out there.
Cool. And
I'm Chase Hamblen. I'm a singer-songwriter. You can reach me at chasehamblen.com or on Facebook or Instagram and all that. I have a new project soon to come out called The Side Charms as well.
it's chasehamblen.bandcamp.com too.
There's all you can find me on Bandcamp as well, and there's links to that from my normal webpage.
So we're under the understanding you brought a song to share with us today.
I did.
Can we jump right into that? Because I'm sure we're gonna have tons of questions to ask about it. That's what we do here at the Artist Edition of the Whine Don't Whine Show. You guys stay tuned. Listen to Chase Hamblen perform on some of his original music. I'll let you introduce your song, Chase.
All right. Let's see if I can figure this thing out. So this is a newer song, unreleased song that's going to be coming out soon under this new project that I've got. This song is called When I Get There, and I wrote it after my grandma passed away and was just kind of getting sort of sentimental and just kind of thinking about, time and life and this and that, and the wind was blowing and I just started writing the song and it kind of just came right out. So
let's grab our
grandma.
glasses.
Let's have one for grandma. The wind was blowing and I started writing this.
I'm having technical difficulties.
Everyone remember, you can't put your wine down on the table while I'm playing because it's a very precarious arrangement we have here sound-wise.
Hold your wine for you while you play, or?
I kind of like this is for the acoustics. Just
Well,
one
sing to the
glass
glass.
on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right.
Scientific.
I'm very scientific about the way I
Let's
do
see
my
that.
stuff.
Let's see that.
Take it away,
All right.
Chase.
Thank you, Harley. I'll wake to morning light. The sky is white, the sun is bright. A fresh impression fills my eyes. I'll raise my head, I leave my bed. I'll find out when I get there. Yes, I'll find out when I get there. Light a candle and perfume. Let the silence fill loved, we've cried to gods above, but it's not such a mystery. And so I carry on, I find the strength to sing my song, 'cause in the end I know it's up to me. I guess I'll find out when I get there. Yes, I'll find out when I get there. Light a candle and perfume. Let the silence fill the light a candle and perfume. Let the silence fill the room. Awake to morning light. The sky is white, the sun is bright. A fresh impression fills my eyes.
Damn. All right. Way to go, man. Dude, that is awesome. So, do you play that with anybody? Or is it just you that plays that?
It's just me that plays that, really.
Freaking right.
I mean, I'm working on a recorded track of that with my engineer Josh Appleby at Sugar Hill
Okay.
Studios in Houston.
Working at Sugar Hill.
So I've had a 6-member band for a long time, the Roustabouts, Chase Hamblen and the Roustabouts.
That's right.
And so for a bunch of these new songs, I kind of wanted to just, because I play drums, I play piano, I play bass, and it's really, all of you that are in bands or been in bands know how hard it is to work with, just to get schedules together and all that. So this time I was like, man, I've got these songs, I got these demos, I know what I want to do. Let's just go in and let me just do what I want this time.
Mhm.
And so the new project, ironically, my Chase Hamblen was a band, and now the Side Charms is really just pretty much Chase Hamblen.
Nice.
But it's anyway, so that's going to be one of the new songs with that
Right
project.
on. What inspires you to write that, man?
That was the one that I wrote after, like, so when my grandmother passed away.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I was just like, thinking about time and things you want to do, and just kind of feeling that sort of, mortality, basically.
Yeah. Man, that was a really, really, really deep, touching song. But anyways, thank you so much for that performance, Chase. That was wonderful. If you want to find him, once again, you can go to chasehamblen.bandcamp.com. You can find him at chasehamblen.com. He also bartends every Tuesday at Avant Garden downtown Houston on Westheimer. So make sure you come in there. Sign up starts at 7. Show starts at 8.
It's a great open mic, cool night. Harley's there.
I'm also the host, so come on by. Yes, check it out.
That's where I met you before.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty familiar face here in Houston, Chase Hamblen. Yeah, so let's move on to you, man. So this is your art behind me, right?
Yep.
Is that correct?
This is my art.
This is your art. And what's the name of this piece?
It doesn't have a piece.
You can get out of the way there so the camera can
Or
see
a
it.
name. Sorry, it
Doesn't
doesn't
have- doesn't have a name?
Doesn't have
No.
these.
What made you
Doesn't
want
have
to
a
do
piece.
this one?
Well, I actually hosted a show. It was a human sex trafficking benefit for a nonprofit here in Houston called Elijah Rising. And they actually deal with helping women get out of the industry and helping them acclimate to a life that doesn't include being in sexual slavery. So this piece was scheduled to be sold so that I could contribute a portion of the proceeds towards their organization. But it was kind of pricey. It took me about 30 hours, 40 hours to make over the course of 6 months. It's all drawing. So I did all color pencil and marker. So I wasn't willing to just let it go for anything. I was like, you have to pay a lot of money for it.
In the hands, and definitely
man.
there, so.
But yeah,
the hair, the texture looks really great.
Yeah. This is actually the leader of Elijah Rising, the founder. And she's been working here in Houston trying to help, bring legislation that would help, people
Is
here.
this her as well?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Awesome.
both of those are mine, but yeah, the barcode, everything. This was beautiful, man. I love that piece.
Is this
man.
oil?
Yes, sir.
That's
Yeah, this
really
one's
nice.
color pencil, that one's oil. That one was just, man, I haven't done a self-portrait in a long time. I'm not a narcissist, okay? I'm not like, I love myself, I'm dope.
But
I woke up and I was like, man, I really want to paint that. And at the end of it, I didn't really know why I painted until I was finished.
Was that a photo before you did it, or did she stand there for it, or did you kind of just go off the top of the cuff?
I guess I can make up anything right now.
Yeah.
But no, it's a photo.
It's a photo,
Yeah.
awesome. So these are some incredible pieces, man.
Thanks,
I'm assuming you've got a show coming up, right?
Do I? I don't know. Do I have a show coming up? Probably not. I don't know.
Is it,
Here and there, man. I market all my stuff online, so.
Okay. Well, where can
That's
we
been-
find these pieces? Where can we find your art?
I market everything on my personal Facebook page at Brother Boy Music, and you can check it out on Instagram too. It's the same thing, so it's all phonetically spelled. So, but yeah, I post everything that I do on both of those platforms. So
Cool.
you can find that.
Cool. Awesome. So if you want to find his shows, stuff like that, Brother Boy Music, check that out. Go ahead and link on over to that. Also, we're going live every single Thursday, so you can find us there, and you can follow us, or you can add us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. On to you guys. So, Backdrop Violet. Crowd goes wild. You guys have a lot of crazy cool stuff going on, man.
Yeah.
Tell us more about what you got going on.
I want to touch on the same subject. We're also a part of a non-profit. We're part of Heart Support, started by the lead singer of August Burns Red.
Right on. Love AVR.
Oh yeah, they they work with a lot of big bands, and Warped Tour and other places. They're really for trying to bring awareness to self-harm and how to stop it, and how to get together with others and speak about your story. Because talking with other people helps, especially when you're going through something that's really hard.
The dark times always need company.
Yeah, there's you can look up all their stuff and all the bands that have helped them out. They all have testimonials and videos on YouTube, or you can go to their website that is heartsupport.com.
That's your wristband you're wearing.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
my wristband. They sell merchandise, but like to support everywhere I go.
Awesome.
So we're one of their. They're starting a home base,
Okay.
and they're starting with us in Houston because they want somewhere to.
So you guys are
branch
getting at a
outwards.
ground level here. And just
Yeah,
making
ground
the company
level.
work with your
Well,
own
they
two hands.
started in Philadelphia, and they were like, well, we want to put new chapters to everything all over the U.S. and I guess Houston, they felt it was a good place to start. But it was kind of weird because a lot of bands turned them down and said that they didn't want to be a part of it. Or I'm not sure if they turned them down, but we're like, it wasn't exactly for them.
That's see, I don't understand that, and that's a big thing that's happening right now here in Houston. We were talking about this a little bit behind the doors here, but there was an article released in a local paper here in Houston that talked about the lack of support that musicians and bands show each other at these venues. And I don't know, I as a booking agent, because that's what I've been doing for the past 3 years, I've seen a lot of it happen, but since I'm sitting down with an artist, I'm sitting down with musicians, you are here hanging out with us live here on Facebook, ask us some questions about what it is being a musician here in Houston, where to go, where are these connects, where to make your career happen, and also about this adversity that we have to overcome being musicians and helping each other out in the scene. So has anybody here personally suffered from this, I don't know how to say it, what's the word here? I want to say eviction. Has anybody suffered from this problem before, having a band or just somebody just come in and stay for their set, turn around and leave or something like that? And if so, what do you think?
When we first started playing, even now, that happened a lot. But it wasn't only bands. Like, bands, they do have the tendency to do that. They do have, like, they come and they, you know, they think that they're the best thing, you know. So they come and then you talk to them and you're just everybody's trying to get their names out there, you know, and everybody wants to be friends with everybody. So you're like, hey, what's going on? You know, can you stay for my set? I stayed for yours. You guys were awesome. Yeah. And then they're like, yeah, man, I'll stay for your set. And then they just don't even bother. You know, everybody wants to promote themselves and they don't want to help out everybody else. But it's not only bands. It's a little bit bigger than that. It's more or less like not only bands, but there's also production companies and people that put on shows that do really, really hurtful things to bands.
Venues too. Venue respect.
Yeah, venues as well.
Didn't we have somebody disrespect the Avant-Garde and just unbelievable? I know we probably shouldn't talk about that. We're going to move on from it. But
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's gonna branch us into our topic for today: censorship in our media, whether it be advertising, music, and in our day-to-day lives with these billboards. We have lawsuits going against different types of food franchises just because of the low-cost advertising and placement in low-income areas around town. So, I was just thinking, us being musicians, what is your stance? I'm gonna start over here with Chase, and we're gonna work our way around on this topic because it's our first hot topic. What's your stance on censorship in the media as a musician? And could you or do you use it to your advantage in your music?
I mean, you know, in general, I'm against any form of censorship. I know that it can get tricky when you talk about like Facebook and things where there are like kids, and like what they, you know, should be exposed to. I mean, I'm one who thinks usually that should be more about the discretion of like parents and, you know, supervision and stuff like that. I will say though, interesting on this topic, and I think we were kind of talking about this earlier, but like as musicians and artists and anyone who's kind of in the public eye, sometimes it gets hard to express your true feelings about any one particular thing. And I was told when I started out, like, and I write fairly political stuff. I mean, not political, but I write about society
hard-hitting matters.
And stuff like that. I don't write about politics necessarily, but I was told, you know, really stay away from political issues because you're going to lose half your audience immediately. And I can think of, like, you know, if you guys remember what happened to the Dixie Chicks, like, you know, years ago when they called out President Bush at the time, and they got a whole backlash from their whole country crowd that a lot of them were, you know, conservatives. So, so I think that, you know, each artist kind of has to do what they feel is right, but for me personally, I'm more into the art and the connections with people rather than pushing, like...
Would you say it's a pro or con censorship?
In general? Wait,
in general. I know censorship in the music is a pro or con. And do we need a censorship on everything, or should it be wide open, put out in the media, food available to masses? Like, what is it that we're doing? What do you think is your stance on if it's good or bad for all of this?
I tend to think there shouldn't be any censorship.
Part right, but I want to know where you stand on.
I tend to think there shouldn't be any censorship, but I think there should be so there's a lot of like fake news and stuff that there really is. There's a lot of stuff on the internet you read and people it's presented as factual when it's not. So
those are things that we should censor, right?
Well, I do think there should be, and Facebook's trying to do this, there should be some way of vetting like what information you're getting is even true. So it's not that it should be censored. If you want to put the most wildest theories out there, fine, that's great. But I think there has been a problem with people getting their news from just random websites, and a distrust of the professional media, so to speak. So people don't believe them anymore.
Like Fox, the big five, we should say.
But no, in short, I don't really think censorship is a great idea at all for the arts.
Be raw, be out there. Huh?
Yeah.
What about you as an artist? I don't mean to cut away from you. I'm just going to get around to this.
Yeah, let's get around.
As an artist, like in a gallery, you know, we see nude paintings, we see all different types of graphic images displayed, especially at our horror show that we just got having. So who determines, you know, what is and isn't okay for the viewer to see?
I think the public determines it. I don't really have a particular opinion.
Do you wait until you get the first complaint, or like?
Well, I've never had any complaints.
No?
I'm just saying, no, I've never had any complaints. No, I mean, it was appropriate for the show for sure. I mean, it was specifically for that cause, so it wasn't out of context or anything. But I think that, you know, you had like Kathy Griffin, is that right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
She did some crazy stuff with Donald Trump. I mean,
yep.
There's things that are just wildly, or you know, what was it? What's his rapper's name? XXX. What's his name?
Oh, the guy
movie.
No, XXX Khan or something. I don't know his name per se, but like that's what his name starts with. I don't know. Like I don't I'm not a big fan, but
Vin Diesel.
whatever. But he had a music video where he was hanging a young boy. So it's like there's like some crazy like a child, not a young boy, like a child, but but it was a powerful image. So it's like you know what? Who determines that? I think that the public determines that. I think that like this is too much. You know, and I think that's probably the best indicator.
There's got to be somebody behind the scenes. There's got to be somebody behind the scenes. It's like, okay, this stays, this goes. You know, and what about that person? Which is it?
I think it's the people that offer them the platforms. If you have a platform and you've spent billions or millions in developing this platform that you're able to promote people on, I think you get to determine that. And I think that's capitalism. I think that that's fair enough for somebody to say, this is inappropriate for what I've done and our company's vision and, you know, the goals that we've set forward and the message we want to deliver. You know, if you don't line up with that, you don't line up with that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, hey, you can't be here. You know, we don't want to promote your message because you don't align with our views and our values. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
So you land on a yes for censorship.
I land on a if you have a company and you have a platform and you don't want someone to be a part of that, I don't see anything wrong with that. That's not necessarily censorship. I don't think that the government should be involved in what I say and do, but if I have a message that doesn't align with somebody, I don't think that they should have the obligation to provide a platform for me to be able to project that into the public. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So we've got a little bit of a new breaker over here. I don't know if I should ask you individually or should I ask you separate. I'm going to ask you as separate, all right?
Go ahead, man.
So for you and your experience as a musician.
You hadn't talked for a while. You can go ahead.
You want to start? Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
So for you, in your experience as a professional musician, what is your take on censorship, and do you think that it hurts or harms us more than anything?
Well, I mean, personally, yeah, hurting or harming, right or wrong,
hurts or helps us. Sorry.
Yeah, hurts or helps really is nothing that. If you're gonna put like a right or a wrong on it, it's nothing that us as musicians can really determine. It's like Nick said, you know, it's up to the public, but in reality, like we have really nothing that we can say about it. We're entertainers, like that's all that it is.
Sure.
We can't really say, oh, this is right and this is wrong. That's why if you were asking, oh, does it hurt or help, I can't really give you a definite yes or no because that's all that I am as an entertainer. I'm really not anybody that can tell you the right answer.
So what about little teenage girls going to a Miley Cyrus concert and her wearing a strap-on? Like, do you think that is okay?
I mean, it's really like she is an entertainer and that's what she is doing. Yeah, like
I need the publicity. Do it.
But
do we have any images of that we can see
just
to refresh the audience's memory?
I'm sure you can Google it. Just open a new tab.
But
I've seen it too many times.
But in reality, is like when it comes to that, I'd have to agree with him. It's like about parents and supervision and stuff like that. If you want to bring your kid to that show, bring your kid to that show. I mean, that's cool. But that's what Miley Cyrus does. You know before you buy your ticket, and you know before you go in there, that's what Miley Cyrus is going to be doing. It says Miley Cyrus, not Hannah Montana.
Whether what it will be specifically, you don't know. You don't know that she'll be wearing a strap-on or wearing dental floss for a thong.
Exactly.
Like, you don't know.
Montana.
I wish I did.
You know it. But you do know it's going to be something, and that's what you pay for.
Exactly.
Okay. So, what about this protest? I'm trying to keep on the same topic, but I want to keep it moving forward here since we all seem to be almost in agreement on this one. I see there's some conflicting points, but we're drinking wine, so we're not going to get into too much of a debacle here. So, what do you think about this tour that's been going around and publicly defecating in public performance areas?
Oh wow!
To protest censorship in the media. What do you think on that? Do you think it's okay to go and protest? Censorship or protest, whatever it is.
By pooping on stuff?
By publicly defecating.
Yes, sir.
Wait, so you're telling me that people have been going on a tour, getting off of their buses or wherever they are, and just dropping deuces everywhere?
I don't think these type of artists are on tours or in buses. They're in their mom's car and they're driving.
And this is an actual tour that's going on? No, that's not okay. That's just like
people are just
going
around.
The climax of the show.
I mean,
45 minutes.
First of all,
I wouldn't pay to watch it, but I mean, I can't.
If it's in front of me, like
I'm not gonna leave
for it, but we're gonna check it out.
I can't look away. Like that's more of a course for hygiene.
The health department gets called. Shit.
I'll watch it on YouTube.
You know, I don't want people
watching on
in my
YouTube.
yard, but
dude,
too real. Like
wherever they're
4D,
posting
you can
that,
smell
they
it,
just
you know
want to
what I'm saying?
like or
All that.
subscribe. I'm literally
Next
gonna
time-
go look for that. Like that's crazy.
Next time I'm drunk downtown, I'm gonna be walking by Numbers. I'm just gonna take a dump in the parking lot and be like, "F censorship."
I mean, I don't think that that's cool. That's, I mean, like that's just, I know if you're gonna poop somewhere, that's just not cool.
Not on stage.
I just don't see the connection to censorship.
Neither do
I don't either.
I get
This
it,
is a
like you're
popular thing.
pooping,
Yeah.
it's like you poop.
You
in a
can't
stall
censor
or
me
something.
pooping. Like that doesn't make any sense.
So we're gonna switch over and acknowledge a few of the comments that we're getting today. Ashley Catherine Silva said, "I think part of being an artist and musician is to push the limits of censorship in society by expressing who you are as a person. That alone is already so limited these days. I believe that it is something that makes the arts great."
Ashley Catherine Silva, you are awesome.
We will have a drink to
Sure.
that one because I think we can all agree to
Yeah,
on
I
that
think
one.
so.
there. And Jeremy Baker, he's an artist. He's an artist from Delmar Visions. So,
Ashley, I don't drink, but you're getting me too. So
oh,
Good job.
I'm gonna mess with you on this one. Direct action initiatives cause the government to be more reflective of the general population and its leanings. So, yes, Jeremy, I see where you're coming from here, but I kind of have to. I don't know. I think I'd have to pick a different stance on this one. Direct action initiatives cause the government to be more reflective of general populations and its leanings.
explain that to
I
us.
don't
If that's the
understand
case-
that, man.
All right. So what he's saying essentially is that like the direct action initiatives, meaning like things that we're doing against censorships.
Pooping on stages?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like cause the government to be more attentive
happen,
to its
dude.
leanings.
I-
The way
but-
that's going to
But
happen. So by crapping on stage, if we get a bunch of people to come around and do that, now we're like, it's an acceptable thing. Just like, if we get enough F words on the media, the FCC is going to start letting everything fly. Is that okay for our youth? You know what I mean? Is that okay for the ones that we're trying to give an example?
let's
You gotta
ask
parent
the
better.
real
I'm
question
sorry.
though.
Parent better.
Parent better, lock them in a cabinet.
Are they
put 'em in a
wiping?
rock.
Hard, dude.
Are they wiping?
I don't know.
They're just
I mean, they
letting it
better
go.
be.
I doubt it.
An artist peed in a jar with a picture of Mary, Jesus' mom. Is that art?
No, that's
No.
not art. That's not art. No.
Hey,
like,
hold on, maybe.
the artist. Wait, whoa.
What's as far as you?
Like, don't get me
Maybe.
wrong. It's like when you're doing it, it's more or less like, yo, I'm peeing in this jar, whether like I had to pee. But at the same time, I don't think it's like, your standpoint on anything. I don't think that it's okay to bash anybody's like religious beliefs or what. Like that's kind of like bullying. It's like, oh, I don't like what you're wearing, so I'm gonna write about it in a song. That's why like Marilyn Manson has such a good message to me, I believe, because he doesn't ever say, oh, dressing like this makes you a bad person. It's almost like, hey, you should be able to wear whatever you want to wear. So I guess that kind of contradicts because you should be able to pee in a bottle that has Jesus' mom's on it if you wanted to, but like you don't want to go out and just be like,
I'm gonna sell a bottle of my pee.
I'm going to sell a bottle of my pee with Mary's face on it.
How much of this
Art's
is
very
for?
subjective, so
One
it's
of
kind
our-
of in that gray area, man. I don't know, dude.
That
Like,
is kind of true.
do I consider it art? I
But
don't
if you
know.
like go
Yes,
and crap
me,
on a
you know.
canvas and smear it around, at what point is it art and what point is it you playing with
When
your
you
Pretty
put a
sure
dollar
people have
sign on
actually
it.
paid for that. Actually, I think that I've
I
actually
gotta get
heard
away from
about
poop.
that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is there a
There's a
difference?
lot of poop
Is
in
there a
won't matter.
difference from bashing the
There's a
government
lot of
and bashing
excrement.
what people wear when it comes to censorship?
Can you ask the question again?
Yeah, is there a difference from bashing the government and bashing what people wear when it comes to censorship?
Can you explain it like I'm in 5th grade?
Okay, I'll put it to you like this: is there a difference between bashing what the government thinks, bashing what the government thinks is should be censored, and what we are actually censoring?
I think it was an office quote.
No, I was being serious.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Well, one of our executive producers is chiming in. We're going to be answering some of your questions here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. All that we see right there on our live feed. We're going to be answering all of your questions, so feel free to comment and ask us anything. I'm going to move on to the next topic if that's okay with you guys.
Sounds great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay,
Alright, whatever.
so it's time we address the orange and blue elephant in the
yeah,
room.
that
Go
was just the
Stros. Go Stros, right?
True.
Happy World Series winning.
Woo!
We finally
Dilly
did it.
dilly!
Yeah.
Earned history.
Dilly dilly, true friend of the crown. Yes.
Yeah.
Dilly dilly.
So, did you guys watch the game at all? No? Of course not. You were making music and art.
I watched all of them
Yeah.
actually while making art.
We were
because I'm
writing
an
music.
opportunist.
There were some comments made on our side of the turf that weren't necessarily widely accepted. So when we're going to talk about censorship in the media, do you think that we should have, because mind you, baseball players are held to a little bit of a different social standard than musicians and artists when it comes to being a role model to younger children and doing things with like the Boys and Girls Club
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and directly going like play 360 and all these things. Do you think that
why?
you should censor those racial comments and
Yeah.
the different types of
Where
stuff
did
that's
people
going on
get
in the
race
sports
in the
media?
matter? Is what I want to know.
Because he
The
was
dude-
making a gesture with his eyes about
when we were talking about
the LA Dodgers pitcher.
Because
Wait.
the Dodger's Asian, and he was like, did something like making his eyes slant. And
That guy did.
Okay, I'm
don't
sorry.
believe
No,
it.
I heard about it, and we can't sit there and lie and say that, like, if it was in a movie, it'd been hilarious. But, like, since it was on live television and happening with actual real people, no, I don't think that that's okay.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
like,
think
dude,
there was
just,
somebody behind the button saying, "Oh, we'll let people see that," or saying, "Oh no, we won't let people see that."
I think that it was one of those, hey, get me a beer. Oh crap, that's what he just did. Like maybe I don't
Those
really
Super Bowl
know.
You
moments,
know what's
like-
weird is actually, so some Christians will say homosexuality is offensive to them. When they see it, they're offended.
Yeah.
But then when some people see racism, they're offended by that as well. But one's socially acceptable, the other one's not. So it's really strange, you know, to see that operating. It's like, you know, racism isn't okay, but somehow it's offended our whole entire nation when someone does it in an isolated manner. One person does it. Does it really change anything? Like you see somebody in Astro's uniform that is doing some kind of racial slur or making some kind of, you know, like gesture towards somebody, you know, and it's like, wow, you know, it's like, that's offensive, but, you know,
We're gonna teach our children
it's like
to
a
do that.
majority. It's like just a majority thing. It's like, who is the winner of history? Like, if
Yeah.
you're on the right side of it, then you're okay. But if
Because
you're
they
on the
won, they
other
went on
side
to
of
win.
it,
Is why I'm
Yeah.
asking. So
Everybody,
it's like,
well, everybody does it, but at the
okay.
same time, when we're talking about that, when it's like, oh,
it's
what if
interesting.
what if a public
oh,
figure
you're very
says
right.
it?
That's a very good point. Absolutely.
Yeah, like what if a public figure does that? You know, is more or less like they're being looked at way more than most other people are because they are successful and they're famous. You know, that people look at them every single day.
Yeah.
So if they do something, they're gonna be like all the people that are at home, you know, eating Cheetos and
Uh-oh.
sitting in a beanbag chair naked are gonna be like, oh, that's terrible.
I got beer.
Yeah. I think there's a certain amount of like trash talk that it's, you know, that goes with sports or anything really. You know, people
You know, the LA Dodgers crowd ate it up, though. You know.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But-
But still lost, though. Sorry. My bad. My bad.
Got him.
Sorry.
No,
No,
you say
that's
I'm sorry.
no. Just so there's, you know, there's in competition. You know, you see boxers will. I mean, if you remember the, was the
McGregor and Mayweather.
yeah. There was some like really almost racial like
Tension.
pretty
They
bad
wanted to-
shit talking
Yeah.
going back and forth between them. But in that, like people ate it up, and the public like wanted to hear that.
Because they're
kind of-
gonna physically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're gonna fight each other.
Yeah.
So,
But
but they
is
let
that
a lot of that
okay?
slide in that.
Maybe
one.
it's because
That would
they
solve
see
a
it
lot.
as they are going to fight each other. They're going to get it out, but they're
We'll
not.
see.
No,
They-
everybody's
that's-
like, we'll
that's
see
what
how
I
far
think,
this
yeah.
goes.
It's like the standpoint of like people fighting and a bully.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like he
That's
can't
true.
do anything about it.
They're also promoting something like, so the more they do, the more talk's gonna come to it.
And that player, the Cuban guy that did that on the Astros. I mean, he's representing the Astros. He's representing, you know,
All of
our
Houston.
our team. And so like that's just kind of basically it's just very unclassy to do something like that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he might probably is not really a racist. He was just being an asshole. But
Yeah,
it comes across as
pissed
really
off,
shitty,
just
you
kinda
know?
really mad, like, oh, screw it, I'm gonna go ahead and make this joke. I'm not gonna lie, I'm
Competition
something
can
fun.
bring out the worst in somebody, you know, like
Yeah.
Or the best.
or the best.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
can be either or.
So
yeah.
we've got some more comments. David Larry Carroll says,
Oh, I know that dude.
Oh.
What's up, David?
Hey,
Woo,
what's up,
David.
Hey, City tuning in, Scott tuning in, awesome. David says, censorship sells your project, like PMRC. What is PMRC?
Does he mean BRMC?
PR, I don't understand.
I don't know. I
David,
don't
you're
either,
gonna have to elaborate just a little bit more on that. So censorship selling your project, yes, I could totally sell. Like, so what about Banksy when he had those pieces out where he was just totally, he was putting out pieces that were getting censored, like they were going over, and then people would in turn take that and then make it into art.
Censorship sells.
Wait,
Like they'll be like they'll take a famous painting of like a nude, like whatever. Some would a
Rebellion.
nude chick,
I
yeah.
could
Some would
see
say they're
that.
defacing it and then publishing it, but it's also kind of like censoring. And then, are we allowed to put that out because it's a disrespect to the original work? You know what I mean? Like,
Are you
say,
talking
for
about
instance,
Banksy? Sorry, like him using another image, like Andy Warhol used to do that. You know, take a pop image and just.
Yep.
Hugely
I mean,
famous.
you know.
I guess that kind of goes on to the lack of copyrights and stuff like that. Like if you've got your stuff like protected, because I think people should censor that. Like if you're going to take somebody's original work and sample it as a musician, you know, like that should be censored. There should be somebody that's doing that instead of saying like.
It is. There's copyright law. It's not censorship, but it's rights. It's
rights?
It's rights
Sorry,
to your work.
I've got quite a bit of wine in me.
Yeah, there's that'd be considered plagiarism essentially. You know, and you can sue for that. As probably a lot of you know, Sam Smith got sued by the late great Tom Petty for that tune he had. Oh, won't you stay with me? Sounds exactly like one of Tom Petty's songs. And even the first time I heard it, it sounds exactly like it.
Obviously, yeah.
And he
that's
loved
it now.
Dude, wow! I didn't even know what song you're talking about. Oh wow.
Yeah, now I know that.
But I mean, that's another
he
thing.
willingly paid. He willingly gave him money.
Yeah, if we're talking about covers, like we just covered that new "How Long" song by Charlie Puth and posted it on YouTube. And there are people that actually go on YouTube for those companies and are like, "Hey, that's his work," you know?
Oh yeah, of course.
So we get to half of the money that you get off of, business YouTubes. But I mean, at the same time, everybody wins in that situation. So
yeah, that's a licensing agreement. I mean, you want to cover someone's song, the rights owner will get a part of that pay.
Exactly.
And you'll
but it's still cool though. Like at least they give you the chance to be like, okay, well, we're reaching out, and we really liked that song, and it was awesome. It got a lot of views, got a lot of exposure, and it was really cool. So I mean, I don't think it's too bad if we're talking about covers.
And we did get a chance to make it our own. When you're writing a song, there's so many ways it could go.
There's only so many notes in a scale.
Well, yeah, I mean, but when you're writing a song, it's kind of you're making it up, you're figuring it out. It could go this way or this way. When you're doing a cover, it's pretty set, but you get to make it your own. You get to really be creative and know that it's got one direction, but you can take it however you want it to.
Yeah, and then when you were saying,
just don't cover Taylor Swift and it'll be okay.
Yeah, you were saying like, oh, he got sued by Tom Petty. Sam Smith did.
They didn't actually get sued. Tom Petty's people wrote them and were like, "Hey, you're clearly in violation of our copyright." And he was like, "Cool, I'll pay you guys." The big one was
I know.
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Why is because I mean, how many songs are there in the world? Like, there's a lot. Like, you can't really say that you own a note. I mean, if you're like
not a note,
stealing it, like or a melody,
a series of notes that come in.
Okay, yeah. If it's like the exact same melody, I could definitely understand. But like,
it pretty much is.
There's a lot of people that are like, "Oh, I can't use these lyrics. I want to say these things in this way, and I can't because somebody else said these lyrics one time in a chorus." And I'm just like, they have a copyright on words now, like. No, they don't own those words. Say whatever you need to say.
End the series at a certain time and at a certain pitch.
Yeah, if it's the exact same thing.
If it's the exact same ones, yeah. If it's
collection of words in that order and that melody.
There are subtleties. Like if you say, yeah, like you're not going to be like sued for that. You know what I mean? But if it's clearly. Or if you
if you say like yeah,
depends on who said it.
Taylor
said it. Look out.
You can get there, dude. I mean, like literally, there's like a misconception about copyright. I think in the music industry where people assume that I've heard so many crazy things, 5, 10, 15 seconds, or that they seem to put their own metric on what is considered copyright infringement, and actually it could be 1 second, 2 seconds. If it's enough to be able to distinguish that it was someone else's work. You're done, dude. You're in court. I've seen some crazy things. Like when I went to school for music production, it was like I went over cases in copyright, and it was just like the craziest things where people. I would listen to it. I studied music. I would listen to the songs. I'm like, I don't see any connection, but they would still rule in the favor of the original artist.
You saw the Led Zeppelin case, right? Where I forget the other band that was like 10 years gone. I can't remember.
Oh, they were covering that when the levee breaks or whatever.
No, it was. They claimed that they wrote that Led Zeppelin took "Stairway to Heaven" from this other band. It was all in the news.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that now. Yeah.
It went to like it took months in the UK to go through, and they finally ruled in favor of Led Zeppelin. But this other band had a song that basically had an A minor progression, like you were saying. There's only so many notes. But they were claiming that we wrote this before them and we went on tour with them and Led Zeppelin heard us play this song And so clearly, you know, they ripped it off. But when I listen to it, it's just an A descending. If you know music, it's an A minor descending. There's no other notes you can do. That's
I don't play
the
any
line.
instrument ever. So no,
I mean, in that order, it descends.
I get what you're saying.
We have some people
It's
commenting
simply in
and
the
tuning
key.
in on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's Alicia Jean. I hope I'm saying that right. Alicia Jean. Art. Alicia. We have a studio audience today. Alicia Jean. Art and music is a part of a person's legacy and is going to align with that person's character, ideals, and perspective. Nobody else sees from that person's exact perspective because it's a complicated compilation of his or her experiences, which are unique. Yeah, sorry. Who has the right to tell another person that their ideals are invalid or wrong, and therefore they do not deserve to leave a legacy? So yeah, like there's a lot of people who put out music and that just completely get disregarded and thrown out of the industry, and they're not allowed to do it anymore. I was in a band where we were putting out music, like we were really putting out some really good, solid tunes, and as soon as the band broke up, all of those tunes went away. So like, it kind of sucks with the copyright sharing thing and with that, but at the same time, we got to make sure we're having people in the right place. But I'm gonna get on to the last portion of our show today. We had a lot of people ask me about this topic. We've been wanting to do this for a while, but I never really got to have such a great crowd and today, and a great group of responding, I guess you could say, fans online. So I want to ask all of you guys one really important question. If you had one major influence that is for your career, who would you pick and why as your favorite influence? We're going to start with you.
My biggest influence.
Your biggest influence. And please, if you're a musician or artist, leave us your biggest influence in the comment feed so we can talk about them as well. Go ahead.
Like a musical influence, or just influence in life, or
for your career.
For my career, I mean, there was a lot of family members that influenced me to do what I was doing, but that's only because, you know, I mean, I knew that I wanted to do music, and that's the only thing I wanted to do, but there was a lot of family members and friends, like especially like kids in high school, that were really like, that's not realistic. You need to be a chemical engineer or something. I was like, what is that? Like, I was like, literally, I didn't know what that was, and I'm not ashamed of that. I didn't know what it was. But I guess I was just like, well, I can do this, and I will, you know, and those people like telling me that I can, I was like, yeah, I can. I was like, that, it's something that I wanted to not only prove, but prove to myself that I could be what I wanted to be, you know, and people all the time tell you that you can't be anything. Like, and kids are cruel in high school, man. They don't care. They really don't.
That. Here's you asshole high school kids.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
But in case you're not an asshole high school kid, you can come and watch us online, or you can come down to check out our events that we throw with Texas Music and Art. So follow us on Texas Music.
Oh, by the way, just because we didn't get to say it earlier, I didn't know if we were coming back to it. This month in November 16th, we're going to be playing at Scout Bar with Red Jumpsuit Apparatus and Secondhand Serenade. Nice. And then December 8th in Lubbock, Texas, we'll be playing with Sleeping with Sirens. And next year, in January, we have our first single coming out for our new album that'll be coming out in 2018. And you can find all that stuff and all that information on Facebook and everything. Like I said, our band's name is Backdrop Violet, so I just wanted to put that out there because we didn't get to before. So thank you.
So what about you? What was your favorite? What was your biggest influence?
What was it? I mean, if we're talking about musical sense and like a musician, that was man, that's hard.
Musicians and greatest album.
Great. Oh, the best album I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Oh wow. I would say
that's
that
worth it, man. It's worth it to know. I want to get it now before anybody else.
Biggest music influence growing up would be, you know, I have two, if that's okay. The singer Aaron Lewis from Stained, because that was like a childhood band for me. And my favorite, as of now, like when I was growing up and got a little bit older, Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach. That's the man right there. But favorite all the way through album, because my favorite song is a lot different. Like my favorite song is The Kill by 30 Seconds to Mars, but my favorite album would either have to be The Connection by Papa Roach or the Used first album. Those are two great albums.
Right on. What about you?
All right. Well, we're going music influence. I have a lot of influence, but we're gonna kick it way back, and I'll say
John Rue, 38 caliber hero.
close.
I know John Rue. I know John Rue.
We just came from his house.
That's our man.
But,
Him and Blake. Oh yeah, you work with Jam or whatever. Or
No,
Jab or
it's
something?
a new company that we
he's
can't
a-
get into too much of
Okay,
that.
well, we're not going to talk about that. But hey, John Rue, man, tune into our show. Miss you, buddy. We're going to get you on here soon. You were saying? Sorry.
I'm gonna go with my dad.
Your dad.
Yeah, because I grew up with a lot of music. He always liked music, always. It's cliche, and I never really thought about it until y'all were saying, and I was trying to sit here and pick one person. But we had this big old fat Mitsubishi TV in our living room. And on each side we had shelves that went up, to the ceiling
I like a German true,
With-
like cluttered all the way, huh?
with CDs.
Oh, nice.
Like 4,000 CDs. And, I can guarantee that from my childhood on, I listened to all of those out in the pool in that little radio, and my parents gave me my Walkman. I had my
parents
Walkman
on?
on. Yeah, I had my Walkman on all the time, but
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably go with parents. Go with dad.
Nice.
Okay, well, for me, real quick, I'm going to make mine real quick. Frank Zappa, greatest influence, and greatest album of all time, Led Zeppelin 1.
Wow, that was
I have
so
a lot,
concise.
Yeah, I had to think about that. And you were just
I thought about it all week.
It
Mine's
never
not that
changes.
narrow, man.
You had that in the chamber, didn't you?
Yeah.
The first music video I ever saw was Smashing Pumpkins' Bullet with Butterfly Wings. And it changed my life. Like, I remember seeing, I didn't understand it. I was like a small child, but I was like mesmerized by it. I was like, that's amazing. I didn't even know what it was called until later in life, but it was that important to me. Casadega by Bright Eyes, Conor Oberst, was one of the lyrical people that spoke into me. I hated Bright Eyes at first when I was younger.
I actually played some of their stuff, too.
And I was just like, man, I really just think that they're lame. I think that the guy's lame. And when I got older, I started to internalize what he was saying, and I could connect more with what he said. I didn't realize how ahead of
The times he was, I guess.
my time he was, and I grew up an appreciation for what he did. And then probably John Mayer Continuum, because it wasn't...
Good album, man.
It is a great album for him. It was what I aspired to, not that music, but he found a way to internalize who he was on an album in a way that some artists may never. That was his album. Like, that was the album that he became, him, And that's just amazing. Like, that's something that, it's like the holy grail for every artist to get to that level. Now, I'm not saying that I want to play like John Mayer, I want to play music like John Mayer, but I know that if I ever get to a level where I can realize who I am, to a level where I can create something on that level, that I'll be fulfilled.
Who's your favorite visual artist?
Don't know any.
Don't know any, huh?
Don't know any.
All right.
I'm sorry, yeah, it's weird. I hate to let down all the artist people out there. I literally don't know any artists. I've been doing this on and off all my life.
Just following the art.
Yeah,
Keeping the paintbrush to the canvas, huh?
Yeah.
What about you, Chase? I'm
No, you're
Man,
fine.
this is such a tough question. So the question is, what is the biggest influence?
Mm-hmm.
And the follow up was what? What's your favorite piece of work or album? Oh man, I mean, I honestly, this is just hard for me to. If I literally just had to pick one musician, the person who I think is the most creative and just inspiring with what he did with his music and his career would be David Bowie. As far as art goes, and lyrics and poetry, which I wrote a lot of poetry when I was younger before I got into music. I love William Blake. I love his etchings. I love his artwork. I guess you don't know any artists, but you should check out William Blake. He's quite good.
I know it sounds weird.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I feel like I let everybody down. Everybody's like, he knows art, but I don't. I don't know any. I'm sorry.
You just put the pen to the page, man. That's okay. That's art, dude.
Or the paintbrush.
Yeah. And best record, I mean, there's just absolutely, for me, there's so many, to me there's a threshold, and anything above it is like
awesome.
The best record ever. So, man,
all-time life experience
it's
record,
so hard,
the best one you've ever heard.
It's gonna be, there's no way I can do this. There's no way I can.
Best work ever put together, front to beginning.
That's
Oh
why
my
I picked
God,
my dad,
so
'cause
much
I couldn't pick a
pressure.
band.
The
Best
devil got a
ever
raging
front to
inside.
back.
Asking here first, Chase Hamblen.
If you're thinking that hard, that means that he's
brand new.
I'm going deep right now.
He likes the first Beyonce album, dude. Like,
if you didn't leave the question so vague, I wouldn't have been able to do it because it's like saying pick your favorite song.
Yeah, it's tough.
I can't do
I will tell you one of the Jeff Buckley's Grace album is always been one of my top 3 maybe records. I don't even know if you all know Jeff Buckley.
Fleetwood
Mac. My
dude, Fleetwood.
I literally was just gonna type that.
Fleetwood Mac movie. What's that? Rumors. Dude, that album just makes you feel weird, but it's so amazing.
It's amazing.
You can't listen to that album with your bros because you just start to get too intimate. You're like, dude, I just can't right now.
Speaking from personal.
Oh, dude, from personal experience, like we had a barbecue, it was just me and him. We were just chilling, and we just turned on Fleetwood Mac Rumors, and we were like, dude, this is a good album. And then it just like
got weird.
It got weird. It's like you're like,
felt
dude,
like I was in like the Notebook or something.
It's like, do you feel weird?
I was like,
yeah.
Man, this is
Okay, well, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn this off.
So
on some rap.
Am I correct in saying that we're all performers here, right?
Yeah.
So I want to ask another juicy question. What's the most crazy thing to ever happen to you while performing? We'll start with Blake, or you this time since we started with Blake and the other ones. Chase, what's the craziest thing to happen to you while performing? Now this isn't like day of the show. This isn't like leading up to the event or after the event. Like on stage was the craziest thing to ever happen to you.
Craziest.
The reason why I want to ask is because for musicians, there's always something that they notice that happens that nobody else quite catches on to. So we'd like to see a little bit of that from the fans' perspective, let you know what's going on. Have these crazy things happen. I've had some quite interesting things happen myself.
Yeah, I don't know what the craziest is. The worst for me personally was I got to play the Balinese room back in the day before it got destroyed in Galveston.
Okay.
And I got. I know we're not supposed to swear, so I'm trying to describe how impactful this was. But I got shocked so very, very, very badly. The whole set when I was playing because it was just shocked me badly. Yeah, it just so that was terrible for me.
Oh man, I've had
but
that happen.
the craziest though might be. I don't want to name his name, but one of my bassists completely peed himself during during a show one night when we were headlining, and he had played with a band before, and he drank beer. We didn't have time in between for him to go to the bathroom.
That's dedication.
And
that's solid.
Nobody noticed though. Nobody noticed. I mean,
was he wearing black pants or like how does that work?
I mean, he's the bassist. Nobody's looking at him.
Bro, buddy.
Oh.
We're gonna have to have
Wow.
I mean, truth hurts, I'm just saying.
I noticed you, Eric.
Wow.
Like,
So what about you? What's the?
You're gonna take my glass.
There you go.
Oh shit!
So
What's the craziest thing that happened to you, man?
I mean, when I lived in Austin,
Wow.
obviously if you live in Austin, you're an alcoholic. So like,
Pretty much.
you just
I
that's
thought
what you
just
do.
smoked weed
Everybody
when
knows
you're in
that.
Austin.
You do that too, but you do them
I
together.
wish we could do it on the show.
But like,
Just
you
kidding.
know, it's just one of those things. And
You guys know.
I was going to church there, and they had a really big congregation. It was like maybe 1,500, 2,000 people. It was kind of a big church, right?
Mhm.
I never played before that many people before, but the guy brought me on. And he was like, "Hey, play." I was like, "Hey, he's taking me on his wing. I'm gonna play. This is dope. I've never played before. 22,000 people, 2,500 people before. This is cool." And so I get there. I'm totally unprepared, obviously, because all I do is drink. And so I was like, I probably shouldn't be here. But, like, he puts me up on the stage. My guitar's not working because the battery's dead. It's an acoustic guitar. So it's like the 9 volts completely melted. It's just not working. So what do? They try to fix it? No. They just completely turn off my volume. So I'm in the back just playing Say It Ain't So on the guitar while they're playing, like, Christian music. They're playing their worship music. I'm over here doing whatever I want to do. Because no one can hear me. So I'm like, this is kind of funny. But after the words, like, everybody would come to me like, wow, you did so good. You're amazing. Like, I was like, there's no possible way that that's true. Because I wasn't even playing any of the right songs. Like, I was playing whatever I felt like playing at the moment. Like, that's not that's not possible. So I thought that was funny. Because, like, like 2,500 people were fooled. I wasn't even really playing. I was just pretending. up there having a good time.
I've had some shows like that, Faking the Funk.
And I never played there again. But it's okay. I thought it was funny.
Mariah Carey does that every night. Makes millions of dollars.
I've actually,
boy.
I've heard some really
Sorry,
great
Mariah, don't come back.
Shots have
Don't
been
come back at me.
fired.
I've seen some really horror stories with her, like the Christmas special. That was pretty brutal.
Yeah,
That was terrible for her.
That was brutal. Whoever leaked that raw, like before it hit the channel, audio, that's messed up. Like,
Views
why
of
does it
guests
mean
do
to
not represent the Wine No Wine show.
Yeah, I love Mariah Carey. I just, you know.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I love old Mariah Carey, but she had surgery, man. She had vocal. She had
Yeah, so then you don't
nodules
sing.
and,
You don't go out and pretend to sing.
I thought
Jacoby
about
Shaddix does.
Hey, man.
Oh yeah, dude. Jacoby's had like what 3 now, or 2?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
he's
me.
gotten 2, bro.
Stuff.
Yeah, dude. Jacoby had 2, and he's just still like
going at it.
But
Yeah,
if you
man.
got a sick audio engineering team behind you that can make you sound like you sing
yeah.
in heaven, dude, do it.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
people don't know until someone like hates you and leaks your audio.
like Milli
like,
Vanilli
so
style, unless you go down
Don't
live.
piss off your audio engineer. Pro tip: if you
Oh,
piss
yeah.
off your audio engineer, they will ruin you at some point. They might wait 5-10 years whenever you're established and everybody thinks you're a god, and then it's all like, here we are, and then you get destroyed. So don't do it. Audio engineer.
What about you? Worst time, most crazy experience you've had?
We've had a really lucky career so far. I'm gonna say that so far. I guarantee there'll be times in the future when something bad goes down. I haven't peed my pants.
Oh, okay.
You will.
Goals.
No one,
you will.
You will pee your pants.
no one's shit on stage yet.
That's good.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, but
Positive.
one time we had,
Brought
luckily
it
we
out,
had
huh?
Blake here
It's white
because
wine.
he's a showman.
Was it Scout Bar?
Yes, it was.
Dude,
What parts did you
We
do?
had
Last
a guitarist. His floating bridge popped off and like he was screwed. So he had a friend go get his other guitar from his car, and Blake was bullshitting for like 10 minutes.
I had to bring somebody on stage and sing them Happy Birthday. The kid was so confused.
I don't think anyone knew, but we all knew, and we're like, holy shit!
So,
like this is gonna be bad.
But from it, like I've had a different one that was like I don't think that you guys noticed it, but I did. We were playing at Fitzgerald's, and we set up our shows to where everything looks very dramatic. Like I like the way that every band member comes out separately, and then the singer comes out. So that's what I do. So you get that really cool look of a professional show. So I stand up on stage and we go into our first song, and everybody's loving it. So everybody was really pumped for the second song. When we laid into our second song, like it was like that's the most. Like, it was so packed in there. Like it was crazy. It was super fun. So there was high energy. And the last thing that I would think to go on would be people coming up on stage and stage diving. Well, because there wasn't a barrier. There wasn't anywhere to jump.
Right up front.
Yeah, so there, and I remember it so well because the girl that was standing right there in front of me was super cute. Like, she was super cute. So when I came up on stage, I noticed it, and that's why I remember the story so well. But there was this guy that came backstage, and he came all the way, and just like, I backed up a little bit, and then he was right next to me, but it was so quick. And it wasn't even like he was jumping. He was tackling this girl. Like, he was literally just like I was like, I couldn't stop the show, and I was like, I feel bad about it now because I could have been like, oh, dude, stop, and just been like, is she okay? But no, I just kept on like trying to remember the words after that, but dude, it looked like it hurt, like that whole row just went down, and the funniest part is that I didn't just look at it. I noticed that it happened, and then I went to the other side of the stage to act like I did. And I put my foot, I was like still like rocking out. I was like, yeah.
That was,
And like,
what's the drummer from Midnight
no.
Chicago?
You kicked him off stage, like the
That's
drummer.
right.
But there was another guy. He
man.
came
I
and
was
just
like-
tackled this girl, dude. Just like literally no remorse on this girl's feelings or her family or anything. Just like.
Great story. The song "American Woman" happened in exactly the same way. The lead singer wasn't on stage to be found. Band just started jamming. Someone started bootlegging the music. Lead singer shows up and just improvs "American Woman." So just like made it happen.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah. So I have a question. Can I play it? You have a different type of wine to share with us, right?
I do.
Can I play a game that I've never gotten to play with any musicians and I've always wanted to? And since you're a musician as well, so I can play it with you guys. Can we play Never Have I Ever?
Yeah, dude. Oh, dude, I'm so down for that.
We do 1 5-finger round of Never Have I Ever? We can do that?
Sure.
I'm gonna
Okay,
lose.
let's get a fill up real quick. Do we have any more? Do you have another one?
PG-13, Never Have I
wine in
Ever.
the fridge. I only brought one.
Is there a way we can
Wine?
grab some wines?
The Monster
PG-13.
Inc. The
Wine.
Monster Inc.
Red.
We'll keep our
With 6 exclamation
Pinot
marks. So he's
Grigio.
really trying
Wait,
to
explain the rules one more time, just so the
Okay,
viewers know.
so-
like, if they want to play, they can play too.
I'm gonna ask a hand of ours if Ashley, would you be able to run to the fridge for us? If not, totally okay.
She's
We're
like,
gonna
I'm
keep it
kind of
going.
comfy where I'm at.
Right. We have a few studio guests in here tonight, so also if you want to come by and check out the Whine Wine Show, see what we're about. If you have any friends that are musicians or artists that you want to be on the show, we can get you on as well and have you interviewed here in the same spot. Today we have a very, very, very awesome pleasure of sitting down with some of Houston's premier talent. We're gonna play a game we never get to play here real quick, but before I ask, I have to ask a few different types of questions before we start this game.
Go for it.
Since I've already asked your worst experience, I've already asked what your greatest album was, I gotta ask you, who is it, or what is it, yes, what is it that started your, that really started your fire as a musician or as an artist? Who was it? Let's give a shout out to the person that has inspired you and motivated you the most. I know we've had a lot of people do that to us, but who has directly inspired you the most? I would like the crowd to know, so we can
Actually came up to me and
yeah, like
inspired me?
whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's whoever.
Um,
I'll take it down here.
Biggest
it
inspiration.
was. I mean, I get when I decided to start Backdrop Violet, I was what?
Do you want something?
No, I don't.
No.
What? What?
Your fan.
I'm the girl that got hit.
Oh, yeah.
Message.
Oh!
Awesome.
You hit
I
me!
was talking about the girl chimed in. All right, I'm sorry.
Hey, that's hilarious.
She's also.
I think that we are going to
That's
go ahead
what
and
she
hook
got
you up with a pair of tickets. If you stay tuned, Katie, message me or message Texas Music and Art.
That
We'll hook you up with a pair of
actually-
concert tickets for you and an extra friend.
Story that Katie Walker, the girl that got hit, that's my girlfriend.
Oh well.
Wow.
You like
Don't
she's
give
I'll
her
still
free
give you that
tickets.
chance.
She's the only one that's guaranteed to buy it.
Yeah,
she's
dude.
the one guaranteed to buy
And
it.
we
Well,
like that was the first
if you have
month that we started
commented or if
dating.
you have yet to comment, and you are going to enter yourself in a chance
So
to
he
win free
literally hit
tickets
on
today. So, if you want to be a part of our show, ask these musicians and artists some questions. If you leave a comment and you are entering yourself in to win a free pair of tickets to a local Houston concert. Y'all stay tuned. We are going to get a round of Never Have I Ever going. You got to join us, man.
True.
With what?
With Never Have I Ever.
Oh, dude, I'm good.
No, okay,
I drank
alright.
a couple sips of that one, and I
Yeah,
think
I
he
get it,
finished
man.
it for me.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
this is
we're each gonna hold
Oh,
up
that's mine?
our left
Okay, cool.
hand.
That was
I do
yours,
not
right?
know how this game works.
Okay, Chase is playing Never Have I Ever for the first time, so here's how it's gonna work. You've played Never Have I Ever, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna
We
hold
play it
up.
all the time.
We're gonna hold up 5 fingers. He's gonna start. He's gonna say, "Never have I ever done something that he has never done." If you have done it, you have to put down a finger.
Is it PG-13? Let's clarify this before we start. Because
It's up to the asker. It is
So if you've
PG-13.
done it, you
Who's
put
the
a finger down.
If you've done it, you put the finger down.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna learn a little bit about each other today.
And we gotta keep this PG-13 too. Okay.
And we gotta
Alright,
keep this
alright.
no cuss words, no explicit references.
Okay.
Cool. Good.
What if we have our producer here ask some questions?
We could, but our producer's not allowed to drink with us. So if you have done the thing, you're also supposed to drink. If you wind up drinking, if you wind up being the one losing, you have to pound it.
What if you've done the thing you're saying? Oh no, you can't because you're saying.
Yeah,
I've
you gotta
never
say
done
something
it.
that you've never done.
Yeah, if
Oh,
you've
I've
done
done
it-
everything though. I've been around. I mean,
Oh yeah, okay. We'll
I'm
start
out.
with
Look
this
at
part.
that,
dude.
Hey,
Never
yeah.
have I ever.
All right, whatever. Let's do it.
Okay, Blake.
Oh, you want me to ask that?
have
Well,
you-
no.
Oh well, I never have. So never have I ever spent the night in jail.
Shit.
Yep. I'm down
Got
that.
There you go.
Drink.
Which is
Oh,
the first
gotta
finger.
drink. Gotta
Cheers.
drink.
I did my
Oh, dude,
thumb
you
on one
can do it.
pinky. It
Oh,
doesn't
dude.
matter.
Oh,
It
I
doesn't
guess
matter.
we're playing. So.
Your turn.
I'm looking
You
at
got
the
anything
screen
you
like,
wanna
oh
say?
god, no.
Or you
Yeah.
can use what our producers are going to put up on the screen for us.
Ooh.
All right, 3 of us.
Well,
in
let's
jail.
see what he puts up.
Ah, I like the PG-13 approach. I love it.
Oh man, I love our producers here. If you guys are free tomorrow, tune in to Whine to Wine Show with Joe Orsak, and our full team will be there answering questions and
You
having
guys
a
are
ball
too
with you.
straight
So.
edge. I hate y'all.
Oh, it's okay.
Ooh.
Pound it. Pound it.
Well, I'll use
Never
that.
did.
Never have I ever been busted by parents in a compromising situation.
Any form of compromising?
Yep, no.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Oh,
damn good at it.
going
I'll
down.
tell you that.
Yeah, there we go, Black.
Alright, I got one for you.
Yeah, we on the right path now.
So it looks like we're doing an
Party.
A-OK sign, though. You know,
Okay.
we're doing all right.
So we got 3 on
Three
this
fingers
side.
left.
Hey,
It
look.
looks like one of us is going to wind up pounding it, probably some of us together.
Yeah, we'll be there together, brother.
You're going to pound it together.
Oh, man. He said keep it PG-13.
PG-13, brother.
I had to do
I know.
Yes.
Alright, okay. I can't do that one joke because I have been.
Wait, ticketed or like
Okay.
done it?
Okay, here's one for you.
Ticketed.
Ticket it.
Okay.
Let's see.
Nope.
Never have I ever had roses thrown to me on stage.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyone?
None of us are that cool. Dope.
I
Also, we're all in the same
have.
boat.
What?
Throw us
Absolutely,
some
I have.
roses.
Oh, yeah, of course I have. Yep. At my
Oh,
CD
yeah.
release,
Yeah.
I got roses thrown
How?
on stage.
Never mind.
People don't like me
Alright,
enough
so
to
you're
throw
talking
any
about
form of flower.
Looks like Chase is
on
going to
stage.
be pounding it.
I need a
I don't like
producer
this
to give me a
game.
question.
People usually
I have tons of inappropriate questions, but I need a PG-13 question.
We'll give you
Help!
We'll give you
Help.
one cuss
Help
word for this
card.
one, but it can't be the F word.
He's got to think of a new question.
Yeah, no, there's just tons of F words in my brain for right now. I don't know why. Never have I ever
Think about it.
fallen ass asleep.
That was your cuss word.
While
That was
driving.
a good word.
Well, he typed ass. My bad.
Never
While
ever
driving.
I've
Drink.
never done
You
that.
asking that?
No, never have I ever fallen asleep while driving.
Damn it.
Damn it. I have.
Wait,
actually.
you don't put one down. That's for everybody else.
Yeah.
If he has it, can't ask that. You got to think of one.
I did.
Just name something you've never done.
Oh, I don't have to put that down.
Nah,
Okay,
nah.
I'm back in there,
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Name something you've never done.
No, good.
That you probably
Skydiving.
think somebody else in the room has done. Something you've never done that somebody else in the room has probably done. That's the goal. You want
I don't
everybody
know,
else to get
man.
right.
I don't know, man. I'm not very good at this because I've done a lot of things. So I'm
Oh.
trying
What's
to
something? What's something you wanted? to do?
What's something I wanted to. Never have everyone streaking.
You've
That's
done
actually.
that.
I've been arrested
No,
for
you
that
had
actually.
to.
So.
Well,
There we
hold on.
go.
What's the
We did
definition of
this because
streaking?
we're
though?
good at poker.
Is the
Oh,
definition
yeah,
just
that's-
running
no, I have
around
done it
naked?
before.
Running down the street naked. Running down the street
I've done it
In
a
the
time
street.
before, dude.
Yeah, public.
Not
public
in
place
an
naked.
apartment with public people there.
No, you got to run like a street.
In the street.
Yeah.
Does
street
the
naked.
woods
I'm
count?
good. I'm good.
No,
Never
it's
have
public.
ever.
No.
Okay, then never mind.
All right, Chase. It looks like
I've
it's tied.
been-
Come
okay.
on.
I've been naked outside.
I've only been
I mean,
naked by
like,
myself.
Does it
I
count?
don't know.
Here we
Have
go.
I?
Yeah,
I ran down the street naked. Oh, I'm sorry.
So it has to be on an actual
Yes.
street?
Rabbit
Okay,
skin.
then I'm
Neighborhood
good.
pool.
I'm good.
Yeah, it has to be
I'm
on
sorry.
streets.
I guess I lied.
I'm good then.
I guess
That's streaking.
you
Streaking
had a
on the
rabbit
street.
skin.
Okay.
Rabbit skin is not streaking.
Nope, that's being dressed.
You can. Yeah,
No, I
do
can't
what you
do
want, or
that
you can
one
take the
either.
one
I've
our producer
definitely done
wants.
That's some kind of.
I
I've done that one
bet
too.
you.
Neighborhood pool.
Loudly till you guys don't know the question being asked, but it's,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's-
Yeah,
Yeah, y'all
can't
done
ask
that.
I can't do that one.
We've
no.
all done
No.
that.
I think our
I've been
producers
there.
are drinking. No, I'm just kidding.
We've all done that. We can't.
We're good too.
We're playing
so-
Never Have I Ever.
Um,
We've only done stuff that's
Damn,
rated
we're
R.
tied for last,
So.
dude. I asked
We're
a
all
question
tied.
that gave myself
Okay.
a finger, dude. Like, what the hell?
What?
Like 3 times. I tried.
You tried.
I tried.
What'd you do?
Went streaking.
Oh.
Think something you never done, or you want to do?
Give yourself a finger is all I heard.
There's something that
Yes.
I want to do.
Yeah, stupid.
Is there a
I
place
gave
in,
myself
a place in
finger.
Houston you maybe never
My bad.
played, or like?
My bad. I didn't mean to, I didn't mean to
Go
put it
ahead.
like that.
Never. Okay.
No, no.
Never have I ever done a donut in a car until I had a flat.
I've never done that.
My tires are expensive.
Oh,
I
okay.
never done that either.
I have a
Yeah,
lifted
I've
truck.
done that.
Blake,
I've never
Hey,
done
We're
that.
in. We're still in.
still in, guys. We're still in.
35-inch tires aren't cheap.
Yeah.
Like $500
No.
bucks a piece.
Yeah.
Never have I ever searched the internet for cartoons in compromising situations.
Oh, come on, man.
It's funny, dude.
Dude, you've
Wow.
done that? Oh my god! I thought that was like the most outrageous,
It's unavoidable.
weird thing ever.
He's
You're down too. No, we're all down. Don't you dare lie, bro.
I'm not
If
lying.
it's
didn't
out
think
there,
they were allowed.
That's a
if
good
it's
one.
out there, you
That's a
know you're
good
gonna
one.
want to see it. I mean,
Touche,
I'm a life lost.
touche,
Oh,
touche.
dude, one
Never
point
have I
left.
ever. That's a
Ah,
solid
Kim, I got a
question.
good one.
What have you done?
You said that they're on ads, dude.
Bro, hold on.
You
what
gotta
have
click
done?
it.
You're
All
gonna
right,
have
let's
to search
cut off the
for it.
personal
Why are you
references.
perfect, dude?
Hey.
You're like Nickelback, bro.
Oh, there we go. Here, it's your turn.
Ate a
No,
bug.
don't do that one.
Don't do that one.
I made bugs.
Yeah, I know.
Done.
I was gonna
Everyone's
say
eating a
we're gonna
bug
be
here.
out.
Done, dude.
We were
all
all in
boys.
preschool.
We're all boys.
boys.
Hold on. Yeah, we've already done. It may be in Boy Scouts.
What do you got, man? What do you got?
All right, we'll
Come
do
on,
the
I'm
skinny
gonna be out
dipping
before
in
it
the
gets back
neighbor
to me.
or neighborhood
No,
pool.
we've already done skinny dipping, brother.
No, we didn't do it.
Yes, we did, brother.
No, we never asked it.
They didn't
No,
ask.
we
Have
agreed
you
we
ever
shouldn't
been-
ask that.
Never
So
have
you
I ever
stopped
been
off.
skinny dipping in the neighbor
Fuck.
or neighborhood
Sorry.
pool.
Looks like we lose here, Chase.
Absolutely, I have.
I have to.
Yeah, my bad.
Are you out too?
Well,
I
I
did the
just coughed
neighborhood
off.
pool.
Okay.
Okay,
Down
now
to
you're
these two
definitely
good
out.
guys.
All right,
Guys,
I'm
thank you for
done.
tuning into
What?
the Wine No Wine Show
Done.
Artist Edition. We're gonna cue some music. I'm gonna
Good
finish
people.
drinking this wine.
Yeah, and don't forget to go follow Backdrop Violet on everything.
Man.
Follow Backdrop
Everything.
Violet.
We'll
Some
know
good
if
wine.
he
Brother
does.
Some
Boyer.
good wine.
Follow ChaseHamblin.bandcamp.com.
Yeah, the craft
As
wine.
always, every single Thursday, we
Yeah.
are hanging out with the coolest artists and musicians in the Houston scene. So you guys drop on by, leave us
The
a comment.
coolest.
The coolest. Also, if you're in town in Houston on a Tuesday night, come and see me and Chase over at Avant Garden. We start at 7 o'clock. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to keep the music and shows going
I
for
like
you.
this,
Make sure you
really
drop
to
down your
say
comments
that,
and
man.
link musicians
bad.
and artists that you want
bad.
on our channel as well, and
really
that you
dig
want
it.
to be on a show. We are a local-based show, so we are all about answering the most immediate demands from our local scene. Like I said, my name's Harley from TexasMusicandArt.com. We have had quite a bit amount to drink tonight.
Yes.
We've gotten to learn quite a bit
lot.
about Backdrop Violet, Nick
Backdrop
Boyer,
Nicholas.
and Chase Hamblen. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're gonna go ahead and call it a night because I think we've had quite a bit to drink tonight.
Yeah, I
Would
got
you guys mind?
Y'all have.
He
cueing
has,
the
yeah.
music?
Y'all have.
This is
I had,
like this
dude,
is,
I had
Don't be
two.
so self-righteous.
I had 3 sips.
Thanks
of
for
it.
tuning in, guys. We're
Don't judge
gonna
me.
see you next week.
be good. Be good to each other.
Just like